The Siachen Glacier. The Siachen Glacier, 76 kilometers long, is situated in the eastern Karakoram. It is one of the longest glaciers in the Himalaya and the northernmost area of India, situated in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. It contains high mountain peaks and many side valleys, and at the head of the glacier lies Indira Kole, which is the divide between South and Central Asia. On the west lies Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and towards the east is the Shyok Basin, forming the border with China. Thus, the glacier is strategically important to India. In a unique phenomena, many wild roses grow near the snout of the glacier. In local language, a rose is called Sia, and thus the glacier is called Siachen, the place of roses. For many centuries, the Great Karakoram was the dreaded obstacle that had to be overcome by traders, explorers and conquerors who traversed the Central Asian trade route from Kashmir to Kashgar. The legendary traveler Marco Polo had mentioned the great ice empire of Siachen and other giant glaciers of the Karakoram. But nothing was known about the exact geographical features of this awesome citadel of ice till the 19th century. The British explorers, Sir Francis Younghusband and Dr. Tom Longstaff, explored it thoroughly, and an American couple, Fanny Bullock Workman and William Hunter Workman, completed the final explorations. They climbed many peaks and visited almost all the corners of the upper Siachen, including the Kole at the north, and named it as Indira Kole, after goddess Lakshmi. During the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War, the Shyok Valley in Ladakh was also a scene of action. After the war, talks were held, and in the Shimla Agreement, the line of control was demarcated till border stone NJ 9842. For the areas to the north of this point, it was agreed that the line of control shall follow thence north to the glaciers. It was not specified which glacier line will be the border. This ambiguity about the exact definition of the border is the reason for the Siachen conflict. To support their claim, Pakistan promoted and permitted many foreign expeditions on the Siachen Glacier from 1972 to 1983, accompanied by liaison officer from the Pakistani army. They climbed many peaks on the glacier, and as their climbs originated from Pakistan, it created a precedent of its de facto control over the glacier. Soon, two major Indian Army expeditions, led by Colonel Narinder Kumar, a well-known soldier mountaineer, came to the glacier in 1978 and 1981. They climbed many peaks and reached Indira Kole at the head of the glacier. The information brought in by Colonel Kumar was very important for future operations. In 1984, Pakistan gave permission to a Japanese expedition to attempt Remo Peak, located in a side valley east of Siachen. As it overlooked the eastern areas of the Aksai Chin controlled by China, such an expedition would have firmly linked the western routes from Pakistan with the routes from China. Thus, Pakistan and China would have a long common border. The Indian Army decided to take action to prevent such an expedition, and the first group of the Indian Army landed on the glacier on the 13th of April 1984 to defend Indian territory, and the Glacier War began. It was a very fierce war, with artillery firing and Indian soldiers rushing to various heights to capture passes. To counter the policy adopted by Pakistan in the past, in 1985, an Indo-British civilian expedition was given permission to climb Remo Peak, approaching it from the Nubra Valley in India. Their successful climbs and the international publicity it generated created an awareness of this area as an Indian territory. Few other expeditions followed, and Indian teams went across the entire glacier to plant the Indian flag at the head of the glacier at the Turkestan La and Indira Kol. For the past 28 years now, valiant soldiers of the Indian Army defend the heights of this glacier. The altitude, severe winter, and harsh weather conditions have taken their toll. The Army has established camps up to 22,000 feet, and it takes mountaineering skills and guts even to reach some of the high camps. Soldiers have to cross snow tunnels, climb up almost 2,000-foot high vertical cliffs, and go across huge crevices over ladders. Most of these had to be covered at night to avoid being caught by enemy fire. The courage of the Jawans is tested to the full. To help the Army, several new innovations were installed. Snow scooters fitted with skis move on the upper glacier, carrying men and material. Wire cables with winches lead to some of the posts situated high on vertical cliffs. Large quantities of kerosene oil is pumped through pipes on the glacier to supply fuel. The Indian Army has the best available equipment in the world. Still, the snow, cold, wind, and enemy fire all take their toll. Helicopters are the backbone of operations on the Siachen Glacier, and they ensure that all camps have a steady supply of food, medicine, and equipment. They are most essential for rescue of an injured or sick soldier. These flying machines have participated in many battles high on the glacier. Faith in God plays an important role on psychology. Near the snout, on the track which leads up to the glacier, many units have painted their battalion and regimental insignias with slogans and built arches. Above in the cave are a temple, church, and a gurdwara for the soldiers to pray before moving on to the high glacier. Every camp on the glacier has a temple built to O.P. Baba, short for Observation Post. These are stations made for artillery officers who go ahead of the infantry to observe enemy movements and give their location coordinates to their commanders. An OP officer, Om Prakash, bravely climbed into enemy territory to direct accurate artillery fire, thus helping save many lives on the glacier. By the time he was eventually killed, he had become a legend. Inside the temple surrounding O.P. Baba's picture, there is a simple red flag with Jai O.P. Baba, Hail O.P. Baba written on it. It has names such as Shakil Ahmed, Hari Ram, Subedar Wani, Subedar Wangchuk, a mix of Muslims, Hindus and Buddhists. The Siachen War is not a religious conflict between Hindus and Muslims. These simple expressions make it clear that this is a war between two nations, India and Pakistan. And Indian Muslims are fighting shoulder to shoulder with their Hindu and Buddhist brethren. As they say, a bullet doesn't know your religion. Why should we? One of the greatest battles on the Siachen Glacier was the capture of Bana Post by the Indian soldiers. The post overlooks the Bilafon La, the easiest route from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir to the Siachen. At 21,000 feet, this is the highest army post on the Siachen, one of the steepest and the most difficult places to capture and hold on to. On the 26th of June 1987, in extreme weather, a group of selected Jawans climbing more than 2,000 feet of a steep, almost vertical ice slope spent the night standing on an icy ledge. As they were nearing the top at dawn the next day, they threw hand grenades on the Pakistani camp, killing 12 soldiers and causing panic in their ranks. Fire was exchanged for 2 hours, and finally, Indian soldiers, led by Subedar Bana Singh, climbed to the post and captured it. Bana Singh, after whom the post is now named, received the Param Veer Chakra, the highest honor of the Indian Army. The general commanding the Indian division in this area then said, "It is impossible to explain the extent of human sacrifice, the magnitude of individual endeavor, and the perilous conditions under which Indian soldiers sustain themselves, guarding the frontiers of their motherland. Such daring and heroism make us all proud." The army lives on the glacier under such trying circumstances that it is hardly surprising that the glacier is not in the best of environmental conditions. What should be the solution to this environmental problem? One of the ways this glacier can be saved is by declaring it as a Siachen Peace Park. Since 2003, there is a ceasefire on the glacier and no fighting takes place. But still, the soldiers are sitting in the cold and on the heights in the winter. This is the best time to let peace come to the glacier. A difficult task, but possible. Men must harbor dreams sometimes, even foolish dreams. "I have a dream," said Martin Luther King in the greatest of his speeches 50 years ago. So, let us also dream that the armies are withdrawn to establish a peace park. This will allow the wild roses to grow, ibexes to roam, and mountaineers to climb. This will be the best tribute to the Indian Army, the great defenders of the Siachen Glacier.